And in this context, we contact both our special envoys to Caracas, Venezuela in the framework of Belen de los Santos and Garfield Burford. Hi, both of you. How are you? And what can you share with us?
Good evening to you, Alejandra. Thank you so much for joining us right here live in Caracas, Venezuela. Of course, the delegates are just emerging. My name is Garfield Burford, and with me
is Belen de los Santos, and the 24th Summit of the ALBA-TCP has just concluded. The leaders are even just leaving the room as we speak. Both the heads of governments and states, member of the ALBA countries, also those states that have been represented in this council as well, and also the regional leaders from social organizations that have come here to this very important summit, and also the 20th anniversary of the mechanism.
Absolutely. Belen, it is a fantastic, it has been hours of discussions, but it has been a crucial summit, a landmark summit here. And what we're seeing now, of course, just ending. In fact, you've just joined us here in Caracas as the meeting has just ended within the last few minutes. And as I said, as Helen said, indicating, as Belen said, indicating that the heads of state and government and their delegations are leaving the room. So if you see a lot of movement behind us, that's what's happening as well. Let's go over, Belen, some of the key points that were discussed. Perhaps we can reduce it to matters of positions and policy proposals. Let's start out with the positions. Alejandro would have mentioned some of them, but just to reiterate for our audiences joining us across the region and beyond, one of those positions was on the state of Palestine.
Exactly, and well, maybe the first thing that we have to say to really bring what has happened here today is that the ALBA mechanism has now one more guest member, a permanent member as a guest, and that is the state of Palestine. So all the leaders, both in the activities before and during the summit, have been mentioning that Palestine is, of course, one of the crucial topics right now, really to understand the geopolitics of this present world. Just the advance of imperialism is hitting all over the global south, but Palestine, its epicenter. And that position against the genocide, against the ongoing genocide in Palestine, in solidarity with the people of Palestine, has been a constant, a permanent announcement from all the leaders. And this summit has the big announcement that Palestine becomes, in this way, a guest member of the ALBA, in a way of showing the permanent solidarity of the mechanism with the state of Palestine.
This is a huge development, momentous development, Alejandro, for the state of Palestine, of course, which has been beleaguered and embattled with what's taking place now in the Middle East, an ongoing humanitarian crisis. And now ALBA showing its strong support and solidarity, not just in words, but in deeds, Belen, because what they have done here at the ALBA 24th Summit, 20 years marking the 20th anniversary of the grouping, is to make Palestine, the state of Palestine, giving it a permanent guest status here among the grouping. Of course, 10 permanent member states, but of course, the state of Palestine now getting that backing, that support, which will be crucial as well. Another key geopolitical issue, Belen, was in relation to Haiti as well.
Exactly, one of the Caribbean nations that has representation in Palestine in the ALBA Summit, even if it's not a member country. So this was one of the crucial topics as well, the expression of solidarity with Haiti, with the situation that the Haitian people is going through. President Maduro was saying how whenever he's been in Haiti, he knows that the Haitian people love the ALBA countries, have a big passion for these countries and for the mechanism as well, a mechanism that ALBA has shown its solidarity with Haiti numerous times in history. And of course, the Haitian people are going through a very difficult time right now. It's one of the biggest humanitarian crises so close to us here in the Caribbean. And that is one of the things that was also mentioned throughout the leaders, the necessity to build up mechanisms of cooperation that really target and help the Haitian people.
As we see more of the delegates emerging from, of course, the room just within the past few minutes. The meeting here has ended, a landmark summit, the 24th Summit of Heads of State and Government of ALBA-TCP, and of course marking today the 20th anniversary of that famous hug. That hug, which was iconic, historic in Havana, Cuba, which laid the foundation and created this grouping, which has now grown to 10 members. As we continue our discussions, Haiti and the state of the commonality, the thing that really brings them together is the fact that the peoples of both areas are suffering immense challenges. In the case of the state of Palestine, ongoing humanitarian crisis, of course, from endless bombardment from the state of Israel, and of course over 40,000 people dead in Gaza. And of course they continue to endure hardships in terms of hunger and this absolutely ongoing, plus the threat of continuing threat of diseases as well. So it's a significant challenge. It is almost apocalyptic in terms of the crisis that the people of the state of Palestine are facing in Gaza. And of course in Haiti as well, the gangs continue to dominate Port-au-Prince and its environs, causing displacement, causing hunger, malnutrition. And so the peoples of both areas, the state of Palestine and Haiti, going through an immense challenge. And part of the thrust, part of the focus of the ALBA-TCP grouping is to show its solidarity with marginalized peoples who have been facing the challenge from what ALBA-TCP considers to be the hegemony of the West and imperialism, and they essentially are showing their strong support for both the state of Palestine and Haiti.
Exactly, and if you will, as you were saying, both peoples, both the state of Palestine and also Haiti, are suffering the consequence of this world in a state in which the hegemony and also the advance of imperialism are leaving such great damages. And you were talking about the number of casualties. We could also go over the number of displaced, for example, in Haiti, and also among the positions that the leaders of the ALBA-TCP Council just met and just have positioned themselves also regarding the unilateral coercive sanctions that are also another way in which imperialist powers are targeting and influencing the peoples of the world, specifically some countries that are member countries to the ALBA-TCP, that is, for example, Cuba. So the position of the bloc against the unilateral that were among the debates here in the summit.
And ALBA-TCP raising its voice, letting its position be heard. And by the way, as we reported yesterday, we heard from the foreign minister of Venezuela, Ivan Gil, who says ALBA-TCP must position itself as a powerful actor in the geopolitical space, what with the uncertainty in the geopolitical space. And as Belen indicated, ALBA-TCP letting its voice be heard in the areas of denouncing, condemning the sanctions which have been imposed on Cuba, Venezuela, and Nicaragua, what ALBA-TCP sees as unilateral coercive measures, some sort of action in the part of these countries. According to ALBA-TCP, there must be non-interference in the internal affairs of countries, and it has made this call very strongly. As well, Belen, in relation to Cuba, not just the call for a removal of the sanctions and a lifting of the embargo, but the president of Cuba, Miguel Diaz-Canel, indicating very strongly that the state sponsor of terrorism label which has been put on Cuba has been deleterious, it has been damaging to the Cuban people, and he's called again very, very strongly for that label as a state sponsor of terrorism to be removed immediately.
Exactly, that's recalled that the placing of Cuba in the state sponsoring of terrorism list has been one of the things that added to the challenges and to the embargo that the Cuban people are facing, and that this comes just days after the U.S. Secretary of State Antony Blinken has reinstated that the administration is not going to change the status just before the office turns into a new Trump administration in January. So there are no news over in that front, and in that context is that the ALBA-TCP bloc is reinstating once again that placing on that list makes no sense according to just the basic information that is known worldwide, and that is just another way of targeting the people of Cuba in this case, and it really affects an already challenged economy.
Absolutely. And as we stay on the issue of positions which have been arrived at here at Belen, let's look at the fact that Dr. Ralph Gonsalves, one of the elder statesmen here, he's been in office in St. Vincent and the Grenadines as Prime Minister for almost 24 years, since 2001. So he's seen quite a bit over that period of time, over two decades in the position of Prime Minister. And he says that looking at the shifting political sands and the shifting geopolitics that he's seen over that period, he says what with a new president or President Trump going back into the White House in January, there's a need for perhaps what he says is a responsible dialogue between the United States and countries of the region to look at how do they get along. On the matter of the Trump presidency, the second Trump presidency coming up next month, Belen, there was also the point from Prime Minister of Antigua Barbuda Gaston Brown, who says with a threat of President-elect Trump that he will impose fresh tariffs on goods coming from and Mexico and Canada, that could lead to a trade war, and that could push up prices for not only American consumers, but for consumers in the Caribbean and Latin America as well. And so he says what is crucial is for there to be even more functional cooperation within the countries of ALBA. And then let's move on to the issues of the policy positions as a result of how does ALBA ensure that it positions itself to make sure that it can be of better practical benefit to its members. One of them is in relation to agro-ALBA.
Exactly. So as we were saying, all of these consequences that we were saying has led to the idea that different policies being reinstated by ALBA. We've been saying this throughout the week, that this 20th anniversary is not only just the anniversary, but also a relaunching of the mechanism, and that comes with the reinstating and rebuilding of different mechanisms of cooperation to overcome those challenges that they have been positioning them against. So, for example, AgroAlba, the idea of building a cooperation mechanism that fosters and helps with food sovereignty along the region of the ALBA member countries and also aligned states. Also, for example, PetroCaribe, a mechanism designed to foster a joint production of oil and also help with the energy crisis, such a vital issue at this moment as well. So, for example, tourism was also one of the mentioned factors.
Absolutely. So there's a look at ALBA-TCP addressing the issue of food security through AgroAlba, energy security, as Belen mentioned, through, of course, a joint production, oil production agreements, of course, within the membership of ALBA-TCP. There's also a push, as Belen said, to have greater functional cooperation on tourism, because it is one of those untapped areas, perhaps, that could be looked at. If there is greater coordination, collaboration among the 10 member states of ALBA, there could be a push towards trying to turbocharge, trying to grow the tourism product of the member states, bringing Latin America and the Caribbean together in a functional way through tourism. There's also mention as well, Belen, in relation to how science and technology can be used, especially as it relates to artificial intelligence and social media.
Exactly. So that has been one of the key points throughout the past month, and that President Maduro addressed it as the possibility that the ALBA countries can build its own networks, its own artificial intelligence, its own sovereignty in terms of science and technology as well. So basically, the summit was about the rebuilding of ALBA, the relaunching of these mechanisms, and really understanding this geopolitical standpoint as a moment, a window of opportunity, President Maduro called it, a window of opportunity into a world that is no longer dominated by just one hegemony, but goes into a multipolar world. And that means that mechanisms and integration cooperation mechanisms such as ALBA gain strength and gain cooperation strategies to overcome what were the impositions of just the imperialist powers. So in that sense, these mechanisms that we were just mentioning, well, they trailed the way to that path.
Absolutely. As we wrap up and head back over to the studio, let's also tell you very, very quickly as well that President Nicolas Maduro Morris getting very strong support as well from ALBA member states. They made it clear that there's only one president duly elected of the Bolivarian Republic of Venezuela, and that is Nicolas Maduro Morris. Prime Minister Gaston Brown of Antigua Barbuda making that absolutely clear, and says that he, in addition to Dominica's Prime Minister Roosevelt Scarrett, making it clear that they support strongly presidency of Nicolas Maduro Morris. I'm Garfield Burford from Caracas in Venezuela for TeleSUR.
And I'm Melinda dos Santos. We go back to you.
Thank you very much, Bel and Garfield, for your coverage and the overview of this paramount event. We were listening to our special envoys to the summit, Belen de los Santos and Garfield Burford, in the framework of the 24th Summit of the ALBA-TCP, a key event against the Zionist genocide taking place in Palestine, against the blockades and unilateral sanctions, against the violence shaking up the brother nation of Haiti, an event that also took place on the 20th anniversary of the creation of this mechanism, and a summit that gathered over 30 leaders of Latin America and the Caribbean. This is all for the moment. Stay tuned with TeleSUR.